how did you react and how did you process the absurdity that it was the idea that all over the world, people should not exercise during the pandemic. What they should do was staying at home instead of exercising.
Well, I mean, I think, again, back to some of the work that, I like to do with, FIC, Fitness Industry Canada, and that group that advocates on behalf of the industry here, IRSA, which does a great job in the U.S., led by the CEO, Liz Clark, is that the governments weren't responsive because, frankly, the industry hadn't advocated enough prior. So they were a little asleep at the wheel. And so if you're looking for a seat at the table, then you got to do your homework and do your due diligence and be proactive. And unfortunately, the industry as a whole didn't do enough of that. So our ministers in Canada, health ministers as an example, I don't think had enough credible research available. And that's not even just because they're going to make informed decisions based on what they know. In the absence of information, they're going to try to make the best decision possible with the information they have available. The challenge the industry faces, there wasn't enough information available. Now, as information's continued to roll in, right, because even shortly into the pandemic, it was the WHO that came out and said the number one thing you can do to prevent this is to exercise, and do cardio 3 times a week. And so then that was the first, I think, kind of, aha moment for a lot of people. Shortly, kind of midstream during the pandemic, there was another, big research studies coming out of the University of Pennsylvania, University of Oregon, that were, again, independent studies, independent from the industry, right? They weren't funded by someone in the industry, if you will. And so then as research continued to pour on, I think it was part of what even opened up and changed mindsets. But certainly, it was very frustrating to have, say, fitness facilities closed, but liquor stores open. Because, again, I think most people can, from a logic perspective, connect the two to say, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And what was your plan when you decided to reopen Fitness World during the pandemic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the definition is like, when people hear about organized chaos, I mean, that's what's going on. So, unfortunately, I had I had to fire 2,000 people in 7 days, right? And then again, back to, I think, mindset and people, and I've commented about this before, but, I think it's worth sharing, and it's probably the story of my book someday, which is, again, back to like the mindset side of it. I mean, I was pretty low, right? This is me sitting in my office, throwing things, crying, being upset, and it's pretty low. That's a pretty low spot for me, probably the lowest I've ever been professionally. And then there's really kind of, I think, back to the mindset, I that temper tantrum, that fit of rage or whatever you want to call it, as I sat in that building by myself on that day during the early days of the pandemic, but the business has been bankrupted. I started reading some stuff, and I made a decision that day that I was going to find a way to fix this. And when I say fix this, I was going to try to reemploy as many of those people as possible, because I just felt really strongly that if this was going to come out the other side in a positive way, that I had to play a vital role in that. I just thought that that was going to be important. And as it turned out, that was true. And so I kind of flipped out of this, moment of low into just a moment of clarity and focus around what do I need to do. So through that bankruptcy, I was only allowed to keep 7 employees. I had 7 people through that period of time, 6-7 months, to kind of structure the company, do all that. Mm-hmm. We basically did, we did 15 leases in 45 days. Anyone that's done a commercial lease understands that that is like near impossible to accomplish. But again, I had great brokers, great partners. The trustee did a great job. Everyone kind of played a role in terms of helping that come out the other side. And then, opening clubs. I told the bank and I told everyone, I said, I'm going to open all these clubs in 30 days. The day we signed the deal, I signed the deal on July 6th. They said, when are you going to open your first club? I said, the 15th. They said, you don't have any staff. How are you going to do that? I said, I'll personally open the club. I'll be there, which I was. And so I was at one club. My vice president, Dylan Wade, was at the other club. So I opened our Howe and Davey.
Another Dylan, not the Dylan I know.
No, different Dylan.
Okay.
Dylan Wade is the vice president. Dylan Campanero, who he's the general manager at our Canby location.
He's amazing, by the way. Can I say hi to Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan, you are awesome. Campanero, Dylan Campanero.
He's a stud. But so we just opened the clubs, and so that's, also just always been part of I grew up in the clubs, right? Mm-hmm. I started there. I've never been afraid to do anything that's in the clubs. I'm still not afraid to do anything. If somebody needed a tour, I'm happy to do it. Somebody needed a personal training stand-in, happy to do it. You need a group fitness class, I can do it. It depends what format. If you want to do Zumba, it's going to be bad, right? I'm not a great dancer, but I can lead people and still figure out like how to deliver a great experience, and so people can, have fun and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was the behind the scenes to answer your question. It was organized chaos. But yeah, there was definitely like the plan. Like I built a pro forma. I had a business plan I'd shared with like different institutional investors. I had a lot of people calling me trying to be my financial partners, if you will. And I just knew kind of where directionally I wanted to go, and I was able to, get the right partner, and it's been a fun ride.